TCG Tuesdays.
And cards coming at you here. We've got my Tanazir Quandrix Simic deck. Tanazir has flying, trample. When he enters the battlefield, double the number of +1/+1 counters target creature on a target creature you control, and whenever he attacks, you may have the base power and toughness of other creatures you control become equal to Tanazir Quandrix power and toughness until the end. So the way I've split it up kind of here, or the name of the game is it's counters. Creating counters. I've got, I think, 2 infinite combos in here as well. But really what I want to do is get in a position where I'm blinking and copying Tanazir out and just overwhelming with counters. And then giving trample or haste to the creatures that are buffed up. So that's kind of what I've got there. I've got it all laid out. We'll kind of go through it one by one, but we've got our counter creatures here. So Mana Gorger Hydra, Dragon's Guard Elite, a Pride Malkin, Ledger Shredder's a great card, Dusk Shell Crawler. This is each creature you control with a +1/+1 encounter on it has trample, which is great. Ivy Lane Denizens, part of one of my infinite combos. Another green creature enters, put a +1/+1 counter on that target creature. Scurry Oak, also part of one of those combos. We've got a Verdurous Gearhulk, a Thrumming Bird helping proliferate, a Herd Baloth, part of one of those infinite combos. When a +1/+1 counter on here, I create a 4/4 green token with Ivy Lane Denizen, just back and forth. An Avabruck Caretaker is a great one, especially if we have it flipped. I've got Vorinclex Monstrous Raider. This is a great card just because it doubles my counters and stops counters on the other end. And then a Lore Scale Kotol can get buffed up pretty quick. To continue my counter package, I've got an instant of Lifecrafter's Gift. We've got a couple enchantments with Hydra's Growth, Mesmerizing Dose, Simic Ascendancy as a win con, a Primal Empathy, adding counters or drawing cards, same with Glorious Sunrise, counters and trample, tapping for mana, so there's some ramp there, that's pretty good. We're running the Ozolith, which is huge. If anybody gets removed, I get to keep the counters. Fractal Harness is a great counter doubler. I've also got a Body of Research, which is fun to play out, especially in a commander deck when you've got close to 100 cards, and a Visions of Dominance. So that's how we get all the counters out. From there, we've got a little bit of removal with Kogla and the Canker Bloom. Also got some protection spells with Curse of Swine and Washout. And then kind of my interaction instance here, Beast Within. We've got a Keep Safe also with card draw. I love the modality of Quandrix Command there. Same with the Decisive Denial. Reject Imperfection, again, proliferating. Sublime Epiphany has a lot of options. And then Counter Spells, one of my favorites. To copy my commander or other creatures, we've got a Mirror Image Shapeshifter, an Undercover Operative, a Mirror Hall Mimic, and a Nephalia Smuggler to blink. We've also got a Double Major, a Serum Snare to get cards back in my hand, or Blur to blink, Essence Flux to blink, Planar Incision to blink, and then I've also running a Mirror Box and Helm of the Host, keeping the Legendary rule off my back, and then a Rite of Replication also doubling. From there, for card selection and card draw, we've got a Deepwood Denizen. Ideally, we'll be running a lot of counters, so that'll be almost free. Coiling Oracle, kind of right off the bat, is a good starter. We've got an Experimental Augury, again with Proliferate. We've got everybody's favorite, Will You Pay the One? Rhystic Study. a Sylvan Library, and then in Search of Greatness, again, I can cast cards or scry off the top of my deck. We've got an Ever-Flowing Well, which is pretty good. And then Tezzeret's Gambit. For our ramp or our mana package here, we've got an Augur of Autumn, a Kinnan, Bonder Prodigy. We've got Findhorn Elves. Old Gnawbone creates a lot of treasure tokens real quick, and then a Circle of Dreams Druid. Running an Arcane Signet, a Thirsting Roots, Cultivate, and 3 Visits. And then I did have to put a Venerated Rot Priest in just for fun. Toxic, and then whenever a creature I control becomes the target of a spell, since I'm targeting my creatures quite a bit, is pretty good. I've also got some anthems here. Creatures I control with +1/+1 counters can't be blocked with Herald of Secret Streams, so getting in for the kill. Beginning of combat, creatures get +3/+3 and gain trample, which is great. Modified creatures I control have trample. And then on the other side of the Ulvenwald Oddity, there's also creatures have trample. Garruk's Uprising also gives my creatures trample. I get card draw if I control a creature with power 4 or more. And then my land packages, Island, Forest, we're running a Temple of Mystery, a Mystic Sanctuary, which is pretty good. Forest, a Bark Channel Pathway, flipping for blue or green. Castle Garenberg, lots of utility lands, a Yavimaya Coast, another island. Vine Glimmer Snarl's a good one. Forest, Island. Botanical Sanctum, Yavimaya Cradle of Growth, so everything's a forest. Dreamroot Cascade, a Litjara Mirror Lake allows me to copy target creature. Simic Growth Chamber, Island. We've got a Boseiju for utility and protection, a Field of Ruin, just to be mean, a Hinterland Harbor, Forest, a Flooded Grove to end it out. So that is my Simic Tanazir Quandrix deck. Let me know how you would have taken this build and what you would do to improve it. Like and follow for more.